Can you believe that this has been created on an FDM printer, not a resin printer? Amazing, right? Well, in this video, I'm going to show you how it was all done. I'll recap how this is printed on my Bambu A1, and I'll take you through the entire paint job and step by step for this incredible model that sadly isn't available anymore. Incidentally, it was never available with this Henry Cavill likeness. That's something I produced just for this video for a bit of fun. Because let's face it, who isn't excited about seeing Henry Cavill step into the armour of a hulking great Space Marine? So if that sounds good to you, let's crack on. So first things first, let's get it out of the way. The way the YouTube algorithm works now is that if you watch the video for as long as possible, it gives a great signal to YouTube that you like my content. But also, if you like and comment, that's massive, and subscribe is always good. But there's one thing that you can do on mobile called Hype, that really helps. It's like a super like or something, I'm not quite sure how it works. So if you're new to the channel, please subscribe for some awesome FDM printing and painting content, and help a spare timer like myself compete with all the full-time printers and painters channels out there, which is difficult, so I need all the help I can get. This is my passion and my hobby, not my full-time job, and I'm just sharing my journey of making mistakes as I learn to get better, as and when I can. So probably exactly like yourself. So this is your channel, so help it grow. Really appreciate it, love you loads. Right, let's get back to it. Now, those that have been around my channel for quite a while or visited recently and gone back through my back catalogue, you might recognise some of the footage here. This is from one of my earlier videos that did really well. And it is actually the first video that made me go, well actually I should say made other people go, and comment and in the videos themselves and online where I was posting pictures of the FDM prints I was doing for this model. It made people go, oh my god, I can't believe that's FDM. I've never seen that FDM printed like that before. And I was like, oh, okay, well, it seemed pretty easy. I'll show you how I did it. So if you've not seen those videos, head over, preferably after you've watched this one. It covers all the settings that I used. For the body, pretty much were the default 0.4, I think 0.08 layer heights. But for the face, I did go down to the 0.2 nozzle and did some tweaks that I found online, and it came out really well. Not as good as the settings that I've developed quite recently and that are available in my guides. Then the guides have explanations of all the settings and changes and the reason why as well. It's not just the profiles, but you get them too. But even back then, I was doing a decent job. So it was onto the painting. So I made two painting videos. There's the Chaos Space Marine and there's the Titus face painting video. And they've been live for getting on for 2 years now, and they've still only got about 2,000 views each, so they didn't do that well. So that made me stop thinking that people would want to watch my painting videos on their own, so I just swapped to just printing stuff. Then I swapped to doing printing and painting videos together, which meant less content per month, but more complete content. And people like my painting too. So I thought, sod it, I'm going to go back. I really want to paint Titus. It's about time. So I thought, fuck it, I'm going to do it. So let's go. But basically I'd lost some early footage, so I had actually base coated him with an ultramarine blue. Then with a very slightly lighter blue, I hit some key areas like the helmet and the chest piece slightly from the left to give a bit of directional lighting to the base coat. Subtle, but it looks nice. And then to stop it looking like it had just been printed in blue plastic, I reached for a good old wash. Even though they're made for miniatures, I think speed paints and washes work fantastic at this scale. And the fact that they don't look perfect and smooth is exactly the look I'm going for, because wear and tear and battle damage isn't neat and tidy. So you want that randomness and you want that mess. And those people that know my channel well will notice there's a Joel bust in the background and also the skulls from the Predator bust in the background. And that's how long ago I actually did the base coat and the initial shading on Titus. Well, that was this time last year, and I suddenly hit a bit of a downward spiral with my channel's momentum, and I very nearly gave up. So Titus got put in the drawer and forgotten about. But thanks to the interim time at the turn of 25-26, where I refocused on less about resin printers and more about FDM content, and the support that I got from that, things turned around. And I've just passed 10,000 subscribers and hopefully going from strength to strength. And it's all literally down to your incredible support, because to everybody who's liked, commented, or supported me financially on Patreon, or bought my guides on Gumroads, you literally are the only reason why this channel is still in existence. You got me through the dark times and proved to me that I've got something to give, and I can't thank you enough. So this is why I want to give back more to you guys. The first thing I did was make all the things that were blue that shouldn't be into whatever colour they should be. Or at least the start of what they're going to be. Because for the gold, I didn't want to use just metallic paint because it looked so fake at this scale. I've been trying to do non-metallic metallics for a long time, to good effect for a long time, I should say. I've done them crap for a long time. So I started with a dark brown or even black wash to anything that's going to be gold to get the shading in there straight away. And then mixed in more and more yellow to the same brown and sort of stippled it over the gold parts in a sort of kind of dry brushy kind of effect, but also directly stippled as well, not just dragged across the high points. I ruin brushes all the time doing this, but ruined brushes are actually really good for this because they are sort of like spiky and sort of textured in their own right. So they are actually quite good for this. And just kept going with adding more yellow to the mix, making it a little bit brighter and a little bit brighter. Still stipply, still giving that sort of patina, make it look like it's sort of real, sort of lived in, grimy gold, not just completely brand new gold, because, you know, he's not on parade in front of the Emperor. He's on campaigns, kicking the shit out of Xenos. But I did swap to a neater brush as I added a bit more white now to the sort of yellowy brown mix to just go over those really sharp specular highlights. And I think it just really sells the metallic thing without it being just a complete wash of sparkly pigment inside paint that's just completely the same tone throughout, which is why I don't like metallic paints, although I did use them on the hammer. And anyway, moving on, it was about now the time where I just went through and added all the little bits of detail. The chains were on his arms with the worst thing in the world to do. Actually, second worst. The worst thing was actually painting the flag, which you'll see later. Then for the sort of details on his pauldrons, is that right? Shoulder pads, whatever you want to call them. And then I used masking fluid to protect the blue and then sponged on white on a sponge. Well, yeah, obviously sponged on with a sponge, just to give it that sort of broken up feel rather than just it being too neat. Then went on to his right shoulder pad, the main shoulder pad that you see. He's got the most detail on from where you're looking at it from the front. So gave that a little bit more attention, made it a little bit cleaner. I do mess it up a little bit later down the line and dirty it up and make it look a bit more realistic. But at this point of the process, I was too scared to ruin it by weathering it, so I left it for a little bit. And so on to another bit that I was scared of doing, and that is the helmet. So iconic, and I just really wanted to get the masking right. I could not get this masking tape, although it's really good for sort of curling, I could not get it to stick. It was really like, you just kept lifting. So I did my best. And the fact that you don't really want it to be dead neat anyway on the edges, because too neat just looks too unrealistic. And even when I pulled it off, there was a little bit of it actually took a little bit of the paint with it, which is actually fine. You want it a little bit rough. You can see some of the sort of damage there as you look at it from the front. Once it was dry, I then masked again to do the red and use the same red for his eyes, which I'd already painted white, and I'd also sort of slightly highlighted the edges of his helmet underneath the eyes with white, ready for a little bit of a layering of red to give that glow effect. Dead easy, pretty effective. Then on to just the detail bits in either sort of silvery grey for the metal parts and a bit more black for the tubing. And a little bit of a test construction. Hopefully you can see that gold is looking pretty damn nice. So on to the flag, which I put off for literally probably 2 weeks. If it wasn't for the fact that I didn't want to do the flag that much, I could have got this video out, at least a week and a half ago. But I whacked it with a blue speed paint. As that dried, I went onto the loincloths, whatever you want to call them. I hit them with good old peachy flesh. Then used peachy flesh onto the parts on the flag that were going to be gold. But then thought the peachy flesh isn't going to be dark enough in the shadow, so hit it with the satchel brown. Then turquoise for the laurels. And white for, the white bits. Which I then covered with, you guessed it, peachy flesh. And then repeated the sort of process that I did on the gold on the armour, which was going over it with repeated shades that I was just adding more and more yellow to, until right at the end where I start adding more white to it. And because at every step you're actually purposely painting a smaller and smaller proportion of the area that needs painting, it starts to actually sort of, to the naked eye, it blends in really well, even though it's not the smoothest of blending because I'm not really like amazing at blending acrylics. Oils, on the other hand, I'm a bloody expert at blending them. Christ, they're easy to do. Acrylics, yeah, a little bit more tricky. But around this time, I literally lost the will to live with non-metallic metals. So I just used a bog standard gold and a wash for the one that I'd forgotten to do, which was at the top of the flagpole. And then I nearly completely forgot to add his purity seals on there, which had just been base coated in an off-white, and then again, peachy flesh. And of course the red's red with a bit of an orange highlight. Now, ages ago I had painted the base, but since then I actually saw a chap who did realistic dioramas doing a dry stone wall with that actually shaded the bricks with a light colour, as opposed to usually you shade with a dark colour, right? But the recesses in stone are quite often lighter than the higher raised parts, counterintuitively, because the recesses can often capture dirt and soil, which may be lighter than the stone itself. So I decided to wash the base in a sand colour. And once it had become a little bit touch dry, I then wiped across the higher parts with a kitchen towel. I then went crazy with pigment powder to add a little bit of different colorization to it, completely forgetting to bother to put a tray underneath it, which made an incredible mess, even by my standards. But it was effective, it does look realistic, and then I covered it with a matte clear coat to try and lock it down. I don't know if it's worked, because I haven't dared touch it since. And because of the news that any Warhammer 40,000 fan is so excited about is, of course, Henry Cavill's involvement in the upcoming TV series and just how epic that would be. So I just had to get a likeness of him. Yes, I did use a bit of AI to make it, but I had to then do a lot of fine-tuning and sculpting in Blender. I'm not going to share the whole process because it's a contentious subject, and quite rightly. I purely did it for novelty factor, just for this model, for a bit of a laugh. So in my original Titus print video, you'll see that I used some slightly changed default settings, but since then I've developed two guides, one for the 0.4 nozzle, one for the 0.2, where I've pushed quality as far as you can possibly go after months of testing, completely bespoke. So each guide is 30 to 45 pages long that covers off all the settings, and you get the profile files as well. The feedback and reviews have been amazing. They really have helped a lot of people out, and they really help fund my channel. I then undercoated it in a very light flesh tone, then splattered on mid-brown using a very low PSI, so it had very fine splatters to give that texture. Then give it a wash with very thin red, very thin blue, very thin yellow in turn. And then usually give it a coat of clear coat, semi-gloss to start with. Then starting in adding the details, in this case a little bit of stubble, shading under the eyes, that kind of thing. And hopefully you can see how doing everything with very thin coats, layering it up, adds that complex colorization, but also keeps the texture from the initial airbrushing stage. But once the hair was added, it was looking a bit pale, so out comes peachy flesh again. Watered it down a little bit just to keep it even thinner, give him a little bit of a tan. A little bit too strong, so before it dried, it gave everything a bit of a wipe down, but going quite lightly so as to just take the excess off the higher points, so automatically give some differentiation between the highlights and the shade just by taking paint away rather than adding paint. Then adding a little bit of dark wash around the details like his scars and the things in his forehead, whatever they're called. Then just to add a little bit of specular highlights. It's very thin down, light flesh colour of your choosing. You want to just add it very subtly, and if it's a bit too much, just dab it with a finger. And then of course the eyes, which you're not really trying to paint an eye, just the impression of an eye. I actually think I've done the whites of his eyes. I usually do it grey, but I think I did it too dark a grey. Then a dab of light blue, a very small pinpoint pupil, and an even smaller pinpoint specular highlight in white. Now here's the thing that I've been using recently for skin, which I think is awesome. It just gives the most amazing texture, and the way it interacts with light, it's just very skin-like, is using these paint pigments, which are fantastic. I've been using oils as well recently, but you have to let them cure for a week if you want to paint over them with acrylics again. So I didn't bother with something so small. So I tried a little bit of brown for the stubble, but it just wasn't looking quite right. So I swapped to the black, making sure to go a little bit subtler because I had overdone it on some this is the third or fourth one face I've painted of Henry Cavill. Two of them, the models didn't actually look like him once it was finished. One of them, the painting was a bit naff, so I redid it. That's why this video is late by at least a week. So I did learn a few lessons about trying to be a little bit more subtle, and also putting in a bit of the darker brown underneath his eyes, and just as in the pit of the eyes, just before your cheekbones sort of start. There's those very subtle bits just all come together to work really nicely. And I'm so happy I did model a better version of Henry Cavill and print it out and paint it again, because I think it's the best single piece I've ever painted, and I'm so happy with it. So finally, after such a long time, it is now complete. And I hope you'll agree, it really is a great showcase as to what FDM can do. So thank you so much for watching this video. Remember to join my Patreon, like, comment, subscribe. But if you want to print stuff like this, then head over to Gumroad and get my settings guides. And to see some more FDM content, YouTube is recommending you watch this video next. I've been Crackfox, and I'll catch you next time.